So the objective in this video would be to help you to set the right type of expectations when preparing your upcoming job interview. And let me just start with the classic one, the job description, right? So many of you have expectations such as the job description to paint a clear picture on what the company is actually looking for in the ideal candidate. There are two highlights here. So first one is that pretty much nobody writes new job descriptions nowadays. They just clone previous ones and maybe slightly alter them a little bit. Basically that's what they're going to publish. And this happens because job descriptions are not easy to write. And second is the company has very little interest in sharing what they're actually looking for in the ideal candidate. And this brings me to the second reason. Candidate fraud. I mean, if they would tell you exactly what they're looking for in the new role, that everyone would give them just that, right? So you would be far more likely to bias them towards you if you'd focus exactly on that, right? So job descriptions, you shouldn't rely too much on these because they're both marketing manifestos and because the employer has no real interest in sharing that with you, right? The second thing I'd like to talk about here when to help you to set the right type of expectations would be the quality of the questions you're asking about your upcoming job interview. Okay, and here I'm, to put it bluntly here, asking dumb questions, right? Such as, will my interview be technical or behavioral? Right, for a technical role. I mean, how could you possibly ask such questions, right? And some recruiters will even answer with, don't worry, it's going to be 100% behavioral, right? And then it is going to be like 90% technical, and you're wondering why. Okay, and maybe another example of such a question, which is not really appropriate these days, would be, what questions can I expect? Can you provide me with a list of some example interview questions? So what happens here is that a recruiter will never know the questions you're going to get asked in the first place, but even further, they are getting paid, so they have a conversation with you, they support you throughout the process. So probably the best they could do would be to Google for the top 10 interview questions, or even if they're good willing, they might use even ChatGPT to tailor those questions for your role, but that's pretty much it, because they don't know and they don't provide such list as standard practice, so you should really not ask questions unless they are smart questions, okay, if I may call it so. And the third thing I want to talk about here would be one I find very interesting to understand for many of you, is that ideally speaking, high-performing companies and FAANG companies would only want to hire the top 0.03% of candidates, right? Some exceptional candidates. And those exceptional candidates don't need much interview prep, right? They still benefit from interview prep, especially to negotiate better offers and so on and so forth. But I don't see any good reason for why an exceptional candidate would want to prepare for more than a week for a strong job interview with any company. So whenever you're looking for advice on how to prepare the job interview, you should understand that the more you prepare, so for instance, if you're willing to invest 1 month in your interview prep, then basically what you're also intending to do would be to literally to hack a little bit that interview to look as even better than you actually are, to maximize your chances to bias them towards you and get the job. All right, so you should understand that the employers is only this much interested in helping you to understand their hiring process, simply because they know the best candidates don't really need to prepare all that much that upcoming job interviews. Hopefully this also makes sense, again, in a context to help you to set the right type of expectations, right, for your upcoming job interview. And this is also one of the key reasons why I've seen that some candidates are literally paranoid about preparing their interview as better and as much as possible, especially these days when it's primarily an employer-driven market, right? So job descriptions, right? Job descriptions are marketing manifestos primarily these days. Quality of the questions you're asking, quality of the interactions with people who are supposed to support you throughout your interview process. And third is expectations. Understand that the companies do have interest to support you to prepare that interview, but not to prepare you in such a way that you bias them towards you, even without them knowing it, right? So hopefully this made sense, and thank you very much for watching.